Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode summary and cast list analysis. In this video, we will be going over the episode 70 summary and cast list, as well as the 71 summary that just came out earlier this week. So, really awesome stuff. Before I really dive into it, I am saddened to announce that I did get a copyright strike on my group reaction to episode 69, last week's episode, meaning I will not be doing a reaction, not a review, a reaction for episode 70. I would have loved to, have done a reaction for obviously the more than likely synchro summoning that we will be seeing, but it's just too risky. If I do a reaction for episode 70, if that video gets taken down, the channel will have two strikes. The 69 one, if it does get cleared early, because I am appealing it as I appeal all the strikes, it will be removed probably in like middle of October. So then if I get a third copyright strike on any video, the channel will be frozen, potentially terminated, so I can't risk it. So hopefully episode 71, we will continue to do the reactions. Maybe it'll be episode 72. I don't want to say that they're done for now, but there will probably be at least a 1 week, one episode break next week. So I do apologize for that. But anyway, the reason you're here, let's get into it. Sorry for just getting a little off topic. Here is the cast for episode 70. If you do not want any spoilers, now is your chance to click off the video. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So again, the episode is called Tuning Bullets, and with Voralode Savage Dragon revealed to us, it's pretty safe to assume that we will be seeing a synchro in this episode. Revolver is driven into a corner by Windy's skillful dueling. Windy's malicious nature has also become even more apparent during the duel. Having learned of the Ignis's motive and determined to fulfill his father's wishes, Revolver decides to use some new tactics against Windy, which again, synchro summoning, we can assume that, pretty safe to assume. Another quick note with the scripter, it is not being done by Yoshida. I believe the initial summary when we got the big batch for 68 to 71, 70 and 71 were both being scripted by Yoshida, so that has either changed or it was most likely a mistake when the big batch came out, so that is an interesting thing to note, even though Yoshida is still credited as the main scripter for 71, so interesting to note there. Here is the cast list. There's really no surprises. Yusaku, Ai, Homura, Flame, Kusanagi, Revolver, Lightning, Windy, Spectre, Faust, Dr. Gnome, and Vira. So again, no real shockers on that cast list. Kusanagi is by himself now, so maybe we will get a quick scene of him talking to Soulburner. Could see that happening. It'll be interesting to see if Soulburner is going to run into the Four Knights, because remember, right now the Four Knights and Soulburner are in the same area. They are not in the building. The Four Knights are fighting the Echoes last we saw them. Soulburner is in the same area as the Four Knights. So if he runs into Spectre and has some interaction with him, I think that would be really, really interesting. And yeah, there's really no major stunners on this cast list. The summary doesn't really give us anything new. So we're going to go to the quick two-sentence summary that we got for 71, which is definitely really, really interesting and kind of surprising to me, but here is the episode 71 summary, the declaration of war. Very short summary. The Light Ignis declares war on humanity. Bowman then fights Playmaker on behalf of the Light Ignis. So we are seemingly getting round 3. Now, round 1, if I recall correctly, either began in episode 47 or 48. I believe it was 48, meaning this is the third duel between Bowman and Playmaker in the last 23 episodes. I was trying to recall a time when two characters dueled in a 23 episode span. I think Judai and Manjome might have dueled that many. They dueled a lot of times in the beginning of GX, but it'll be very hard pressed to find any times where the same two characters dueled each other 3 times within 23 episodes. It is a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and if it is the only time I confidently picked against Playmaker to lose, I picked against Playmaker in a duel, was the rematch, was when Bowman versed him, and I believe that was episode 57 and 58, because my rationale for that was, guys, there's no way that they're having this quick of a rematch, and the same result, Playmaker wins, is going to happen. So based off of that same rationale that I used when they had their original rematch, I mean, this is the rematch, I would once again say that there is a good chance Playmaker will lose, right? Or are they going to have him defeat the same character 3 times in 23, by the time this duel ends, maybe 25 episodes? That just seems kind of boring and repetitive. But then again, can Playmaker afford to lose with, even though now that the Ignis are more involved and we know the Ignis seem to be, I mean, the first sentence basically confirms our suspicions when Lightning was introduced to us, that Lightning, the Light Ignis, is the main antagonist of the arc. You can't change my mind on that. He is the main antagonist for the rest of the arc, maybe the rest of the show, honestly. And now that we know the Light Ignis is behind it and that the Ignis are also evil, maybe now Playmaker can afford to lose in terms of a story perspective and lose Eye, because they're clearly after Eye. It wouldn't be a case of like when Revolver defeated Playmaker, he would destroy Eye. Eye might be brainwashed into becoming evil, and that could lead to something pretty interesting down the road if Playmaker has to save Eye, which obviously he would if he loses his Ignis. So I feel like it's he can afford to lose him a little more at this point. That's just my view on it. But at the same time, you know, are they going to have him lose? I mean, at this point, Playmaker is undefeated. Yugioh characters, the latest any Yugioh character has ever lost was episode 92, and that's when Yugioh lost to Sergei. I believe that was 92, might have been 93. So we're approaching that, you know, in 5 months, which is going to fly by, honestly, guys. Playmaker will reach that point where Yugioh protagonists become invincible, sorry. And I think Yuma in Zexal, I think his last loss was to Kaido at the end of the tournament arc after they defeated Faker, and I think that was like episode 63, and after that, Yuma, if I recall, did not lose at all in Zexal 2. He became the typical Yugioh invincible protagonist. So, but yeah, how that's going to play out really remains to be seen, and I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see if Playmaker will actually lose, because if he does lose, it's going to be absolutely shocking. In terms of how I actually feel about the third time Bowman and Playmaker are dueling, I'm not too big of a fan of it, because you have a universe that has so many incredible characters. Right, there's so many incredible characters, and now the Knights are back. Spectre is back. Faust, Vira, Gnome are all back. At least Revolver is getting a duel against Windy. I just wish that we got a little bit of a variety here. I mean, the fact that this is their third duel again in such a short amount of time, sure, if there wasn't a lot of characters, then I'd say, okay, it makes sense. But there's so many characters, and I'm sure they will get hopefully the attention that they deserve. I think of Aoi Zaizen, I think of Emma, even Akira to a degree. I mean, these are characters that are getting kind of pushed to the side for what? For a third Playmaker and Bowman duel. So from that perspective, that there's so many characters in this universe and they're going to be dueling again, I don't really love it from that perspective, but I'm also interested to see what new memories the Light Ignis puts in Bowman's head, because Bowman very well could be a victim of the Lost Incident. He very well could be. Now, there are people who think that he doesn't even exist. There's people who think he's just an extension of Haru, of Hal, or he's like a person that was created by Lightning, which I guess could be true as well. So there still are a lot of mysteries surrounding Bowman that I do want to find out about, that I think we as the viewer want to know about. I just feel like even if it was Soulburner versus Bowman, at least it would be a little bit of a variety. So unless they throw a Playmaker loss at us, I'm not going to be too big of a fan of them dueling just, at surface level. But, of course, there still is a lot of the show to go. And after this duel, if Playmaker sits on the sidelines for, maybe 10 episodes while other characters get the spotlight and get duels, then I'm not really going to mind it too much. It just seems like we finally reached an amazing turning point of the season for VRains when the Knights come back, when the Ignis finally introduce themselves as at least 2 of them being antagonists, and then we go back to where Season 2 was before all that happened with another Bowman and Playmaker fight. So I definitely was very, very surprised to see that these two were going to fight again. Whether it is good or not, I guess remains to be seen. Of course, I'm going to go in with a very positive and optimistic mindset, as I always do, and I think it's hard to justify Playmaker winning against the same opponent for a third straight time So again, I'm going to put that one on upset watch. Look for Bowman to maybe get a shock win in that duel. Of course, on Tuesday, when we get the 71 cast list and the summary for 71, we might even get the title for 72 that morning. We should know a little bit more about the episode. But I'm going to cut myself off there, guys. Please let me know all your thoughts down below. I've heard so many amazing theories on how the Revolver Windy duel is going to conclude, but I will ask once more, who do you think is going to win this duel? How do you think this duel is going to play out? And let me know if you are excited for Bowman Playmaker Round 3, or if you think it's a bit redundant, a bit overkill at this point. Special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Alexa Baker, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, and James Rose, and to my Diamond tier patron, Bouldergeist, and of course, to my Egyptian God tier patrons, Odd Eyes Vaughn, Syn Cloud, and Odd Eyes Vaughn. Huge thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. Cannot tell you how much it financially helps me out. And of course, thank you to everyone who just watches my videos, because without you guys, I would not be able to do this. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the comment section, and I hope you have an amazing day.